The 2025 transfer portal is about to really heat up, and you guys seem to absolutely love the portal content on the channel, so I'm going to do a ton of that this season. And to get things started, I want to talk about 9 players who I think could or should enter the 2025 transfer portal. This is not going to be a position-specific video, but just 9 guys I think that should. Before we get started though, if you're a big fan of college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you support today's video, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I can cover next. Now let's go ahead and get started and talk about 9 players who should enter the transfer portal. So going into the 2025 college football season, many knew that Ohio State needed a new running back, so they went out and got CJ Donaldson from West Virginia, and they also brought back James Peoples. He was the number 7 running back in the class of 2024, and after going to Veterans Memorial High School in San Antonio, Peoples was going to be the next great Ohio State running back. At least that's what I thought. He ran for nearly 2,000 yards and 28 touchdowns during his junior season, and last year as a true freshman at Ohio State, he ran for 197 yards and 2 total touchdowns. Many expected him to get a bump in production in 2025, but both CJ Donaldson and true freshman Bo Jackson have passed him up. It seems that James is now the 3rd option at Ohio State, and with Bo probably being the guy moving forward, I think James should move on to a new school. So far this season, Peoples has gotten 58 carries for 289 yards and 2 touchdowns. Those are not the numbers I expected, and if you're an Ohio State fan, do you think he should transfer? And if so, where would he go? The second guy who I think should enter the portal is Andrew Marsh. I know this will be controversial to some people, but Marsh is extremely talented and could be one of the best receivers in the country, so I'd like to see him go to a high-flying offense. Michigan just isn't his style. Coming out of Katy Jordan High School in Texas, Andrew Marsh was considered the number 13 wide receiver and a 4-star recruit in the class of 2025. While he was in high school, Marsh ended up putting up good numbers, as he had over 3,500 yards and 36 touchdowns during his career. Marsh has gotten off to a fast start so far in 2025, as he's caught 37 passes for 565 yards and 2 total touchdowns. He ended up having the best game for a freshman Michigan receiver ever, as against Northwestern, he caught 12 passes for 189 yards. He also went for 8 catches and 138 yards against USC, and with his level of talent, he could go to a school that has an even better passing offense and put up video game-like numbers. I know this one will be controversial. The third guy I want to talk about is another running back, and that is Oklahoma back Javante Barnes. He was supposed to be the guy going into the 2025 season, but so far he has fallen behind on the depth chart. Going back in time, Barnes was a 4-star recruit, and he was a part of the class of 2022. In fact, he was the number 10 running back coming out of Desert Pines High School, and while he was there, he also put up ridiculous numbers like pretty much every other big-time recruit. He ended up rushing for over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns as a senior, and Barnes would decide to go to Oklahoma, where he got off to a hot start. He ended up having 500 yards and 5 touchdowns as a freshman, and then after a drop-off in 2023, he ended up having 577 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. Many expected him to be the number 1 back this year, but then they brought in Jaden Ott, and true freshman Torrey Blaylock has taken over. Blaylock is going to be the future of the quarterback position at Oklahoma, and for his last season of eligibility, Barnes should go somewhere where he can play right away and showcase his talent and hopefully finally break the 1,000-yard mark. I know this one's going to sound crazy, but for our 4th player, I think Beau Pribula should enter the transfer portal. I'm a die-hard Mizzou fan, but I think Mizzou's future is going to be Matt Zollers. Going back in time, Pribula was a 3-star recruit and was part of the same class as Drew Aller. While he put up ridiculous numbers in high school, he did not get the same kind of attention, but ended up arriving at Penn State, where he was a great dual-threat backup for a couple of seasons. He decided to transfer to Mizzou this year, and had thrown for 1,700 yards and 11 touchdowns, with also 5 more scores on the ground, before he got seriously injured against Vanderbilt. While some are saying he might be able to come back at the end of this season, I think Mizzou has already found that their future is probably Matt Zollers, and Beau Pribula is a really good player and deserves to get on the field, so in that case, I think he could definitely go to another school and play right away. The 5th guy I want to talk about is someone who has come out of nowhere over the last couple of weeks, and that is Indiana wide receiver Charlie Becker. He ended up going to Father Ryan High School, which is located in Nashville, Tennessee, and he was one of those hidden gems that Curt Cignetti found. He was barely ranked inside the top 1,000, as he was the number 127 wide receiver in the class of 2024. Nobody expected Charlie Becker to be that good, but while he was in high school, he was pretty incredible. He was an athlete who pretty much did everything and was also a track star and played football at Ohio State, and last year, Becker would not even play for them. So far this year, though, with the Hoosiers, Becker has become one of their new big-time options, as when Elijah Surratt went down with an injury, all of a sudden, he was called upon. He had a touchdown early on against Kent State, and then in the last 2 weeks, he's been insane. Against Penn State, he caught 7 passes for 118 yards and also had that miracle one-footed toe tap on the sideline to set up the Omar Cooper game-winning catch. This past weekend against Wisconsin, he once again went off as he caught 5 passes for 108 yards and a touchdown in that one. Charlie Becker has proven when he gets the touches and the targets that he makes plays. This guy is tough, he's really good. And with Omar Cooper and Surratt leaving for the NFL this year, he could be wide receiver 1 at Indiana next year, but if not, I could see him getting poached in the portal based on his pure potential alone. For our next guy, I want to talk about another running back, and that is Cam Cook. Going back in time, he ended up becoming a late rising 4-star recruit, and after running for over 1,000 yards as a senior, Cam Cook would decide to go over to TCU. In 2023, he'd have 58 yards as a freshman, but as a sophomore, he'd become a breakout star for them. He had nearly 500 yards and 9 touchdowns, which was near the top of the Big 12, but he would decide to enter the transfer portal and somehow ended up at Jacksonville State. I'm not sure why he decided to go there, but Cook has become a star. He's top 5 in pretty much every rushing category right now, as he has run the ball 227 times for 1,313 yards and 13 touchdowns. Cook is an insane player and has also caught 22 passes out of the backfield. He's definitely someone who could go play at a high level, and everybody's going to try to find the next Ahmad Hardy, and that could be Cam Cook from Jacksonville State. Our next guy is a player I featured in a full-length video earlier, and that is Sam Leavitt. With the rumors of him entering the portal, I think it's a good idea. He ended up being a 4-star recruit coming out of the state of Oregon, and after being the Gatorade State Player of the Year there, he would decide to commit to Washington State, but would then flip to Michigan State. Leavitt played sparingly as a freshman with the Spartans, throwing for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns, before transferring to ASU in 2024, beating out Jeff Sims for the starting job. He became the Big 12 Freshman of the Year, throwing for 2,900 yards and 24 touchdowns, and leading the Sun Devils to the college football playoff. He was considered a top-tier draft pick going into this season, but a foot injury has sidelined him, and he only threw for about 1,600 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's a dual-threat quarterback who has NFL potential and can help a school win immediately. I think he deserves a huge paycheck and could go anywhere in the country, and I'm excited to see where he ends up. One player who's been receiving crazy hype in college football is Cam Coleman. He was a 5-star recruit in the class of 2024, as he was considered the number 2 wide receiver and the 5th best player nationally. Coming out of Central High School in Phoenix City, Alabama, Cam Coleman was a super athlete while he was there, and ended up having 1,400 yards and 18 touchdowns as a senior. Combining that with his physical traits, Coleman would decide to go to Auburn and was a star there immediately. He caught 37 passes for 598 yards and 8 touchdowns, and so far this year, despite bad quarterback play, Coleman has 47 catches for 617 yards and 4 touchdowns. I know Auburn fans are going to be mad about this one, but he has the potential to be a top 10 draft pick in my opinion, and he is insane. He has 1,200 yards and 84 catches in 2 years, and I think it's sort of a Zachariah Branch situation where he goes from one blue blood to another. I know some people think he should go to Ohio State, which would just be unfair, but with the new coaching change, I could easily see Cam Coleman leaving. Last but not least, we have a very interesting name in Mekhi Hughes. He was one of the top players in this year's portal, but going back in time, nobody really knew much about this player. He'd end up going to Huffman High School in Alabama, and despite having 1,600 yards and 20 touchdowns, he would decide to go to Tulane. Big schools weren't really talking to him, and Mekhi Hughes waited his turn at Tulane before breaking out in 2023 and 2024. He had nearly 2,800 yards and 22 touchdowns in 2 seasons with the Green Wave, and would become a top 10 portal running back and go to Oregon. Unfortunately, true freshmen and other players would pass him up, so Mekhi has decided to redshirt and sit out the rest of the season, where he will pretty much 100% enter the portal again. I think Hughes is good enough to go to another Power 4 school, and I'm excited to see where he ends up as well. So yeah, today we talked about 9 players who I think should or will enter the portal, and some are controversial and some aren't. But be sure to let me know your thoughts down below. Who else should enter the portal? Where will these players go? And before you go, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and check out one of the videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time,